Surviving domestic violence. This is a video about domestic violence, how I survived my past relationship, and what are some of the warning signs, the red flags you can look for. So, this all began in January of 2010. Thought I met a really nice guy off of Plenty of Fish, go figure. And right away there was something not right about it. He wanted to meet me like right away, where I'm the type of person where I like to get to know somebody for a month or two, try to get to know them and their situation, and try to get a good feel for it before I putting myself out there. But when you do go and meet someone off the internet, please make sure you meet them in a public place, because it can be dangerous. So we started our relationship at the end of January 2010, and some of the things I noticed right away on our first date was, on our first date, I wanted to introduce him to one of my friends, and he was totally against it. He actually got angry at me for even asking. He was tired from work. He didn't want to do anything but smoke marijuana with me. So I'm like, okay, well maybe he's just tired from work. Already putting excuses in my head for why he's treating me the way he is on our first date. Just wanted to, go and do a double date and have a good night, and, just try to get to know him more, basically. So right after that, a few weeks later, I ended up moving in with a friend of mine parents' house. Come to find out later, these people were on drugs, but I didn't know. I never done drugs myself and didn't know what to look for, or how they acted, or anything like that. So I moved in. It lasted for about 2 months there, and the person I was seeing at the time got me out of that situation because I had nobody else to turn to. So he got me out of there, and I noticed after moving in with him, um, like when I would go to work, he would be texting me constantly, every 5 minutes. And I worked full time, 8 hours a day. I was gone from 12 in the afternoon till about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, because the call center shut down at 9. I was on public transportation, so it usually took me about an hour to get home. And I noticed throughout my shift, he was texting me over and over and over again, like crazy amounts of times. And I'm like, look, I'm trying to work. I'm trying to make money so I can support myself while living with you. And that way I have an income and I can pay for my part of the rent and bills and electricity and all that. And I confronted him right in front of his family when they picked me up from work that night. And I'm like, look, please do not massive text me when I'm at work. You can text me on my breaks. I would give him the times for it. You can text me on my lunch break. You can text me on my last break and after work. That's a pretty good amount of times throughout the day. And we live together. So it's not like I wasn't going straight back home to him anyway. And then about a month after that, I noticed he made a video and said that he loved me after a month of dating. And I thought that was kind of a red flag too. How can you know you love someone? And I think it was before I moved in. I wasn't even living with him yet. Kind of jumped the gun on there, sorry. Wasn't even living with him, and he already told me he loved me. And I'm like, we had just started dating a few weeks ago. How can you know that you love me? You know? So I thought that was weird. And so that was 2010. I started living with him all that year. Later that year in September 2010, we got our first apartment together. We ended up losing that after a year. Went to go live with his parents. That was hell. So finally, things went from bad to worse. We got our own townhome together in 2012 and 2013. I was working for a different call center with different hours, and there was more traveling time for me to get to my new job. It took me 2 hours to get to work, 2 hours to get home, and I started work at 8 a.m. So I was usually on a bus by 5:45, 6 a.m. I think I remember leaving every morning at 5:30 to catch the first bus at 10 to 6 a.m. So I remember one night coming home from work just exhausted. You know, not only am I working full time and traveling 4 hours a day, um, but I'm just tired, I'm just exhausted. And he, like, wanted to have sex that night. And I'm like totally against it. No, I'm just gonna go to bed. I'm tired. So I went to bed. Woke up 4 or 5 hours later, about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I noticed basically he had sex with me in my sleep. So that's when I knew, okay, this is over, this is done. I'm not going to be with someone who disrespects me like that. Um, that was like probably the second or third worst thing that's ever happened to me. And it was kind of traumatizing. I remember calling him from work that day, trying to play stupid. I knew what happened, but trying to play stupid and so I can get a confession from him on Facebook or on the phone or wherever I could get it, basically. Just, saying what happened, why do I hurt down below, why, just asking all these questions. And before I even went to work that morning, on my way to work, traveling the distance to work, he actually admitted that that's what happened, and I had no recollection. Like I said, I passed out, and I'm one of those really hard sleepers, so I had no idea. So I had a full confession from him, and I had to make a decision. I'm either going to go to work like I'm supposed to, like I'm scheduled to. I was already on my way. Or I going to the hospital. And I was by myself. I have no siblings. I didn't really have any friends. I had friends, but they're all on social media, and it was early in the morning. I was by myself. So I just decided to go to work that day, and his mom ended up picking me up from work that night, and I'm like, hey, what if you knew somebody and they're really tired and they went to bed and their significant other had sex with them in their sleep? Is that rape? And of course she said no, especially when I told her it was about her son, and that this story that I was kind of telling her about but not naming any names, I ended up telling her it was about her son, and she's like, no, that's not rape at all. Of course, his family was completely on his side. So those are some things that you can look for. The, cleany, like, won't even let you work, constantly texting you, won't meet your friends, saying I love you way too soon, which I don't think is a domestic violence sign, but saying it way too soon when you're still getting to know that person, I think is kind of weird. So those are just some of the things that I noticed in my personal relationship. And of course, after the rape incident, things got physical, and sometimes he would slap me, and of course I defend myself, and it was just, we were bad for each other, we're toxic and horrible for each other. And how I got myself out of it was I had to get a job. I was only working part-time, but the travel hours made it seem like it was a lot more than that. So I ended up getting a working from home job full-time. I can set my own schedule, make $15 an hour, and so that was my ticket out. And then I met my husband, Barton, who was able to come and physically come and get me my dogs and my stuff, and I was able to take my job with me because I have my own computer, and I still have the same job to this day. Completely moved on, hours away from him and his family, and got myself out of there. I'm living a much better life now, but I just wanted to make a video of things that you guys can look for. And so if you notice anything like that, or just follow your heart, follow your intuition. If it doesn't feel right, it's probably not, and to get out.